Right guys, welcome back to the channel, and today is Wrath of the Everchosen. I'm joined once again by my faithful Age of Sigmar guru, Mr. Grant Fraser.
Hello there.
So, first of all, apologies about getting this out late, guys. It didn't turn up until Saturday afternoon, and I was getting some work done on the house. So, unfortunately, it's a little bit later than normal, but it's meant that Grant has had time to read more of it.
Yes, I've had a look through the Allegiance abilities and stuff in particular, and found some fun things.
There's a metric ton of Allegiance abilities in here, like.
Yeah, was it 13, 14?
At least that, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of story at the beginning. First of all, like, as a Slaves to Darkness player, I loved that book, and I went out and bought 9 Varangard, which you've probably seen me streaming. I am still painting 9 Varangard. Still.
There's a lot. They're pretty much like individual character models, the amount of detail that's on them, so it does take a wee minute to get through them.
It does, absolutely. Now, the good thing about this book is it tells the story of the battle between Catacross and Archaon. And good news, fans, Lucy is almost finished painting Catacross.
The mad lad himself on the table.
Yep, absolutely. So you can expect at some point...
He's quite scary in combat.
See, I read his War Scroll and he doesn't scream scary.
It's more the fact you've got to hurt him. You're hurting him. But then he gets better in combat, so as he's almost dead, he then charges into you, and you're obviously war of attrition against Bone Reapers anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to be pretty wounded, and then he's just all of a sudden a murder machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, guys, it will happen, so again, apologies for not getting a battle report for this. If we wanted to do this, we wanted to do a Catacross versus Archaon. It's got to be that way, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this book, so it would be a shame not to not to do that.
Give us another week or two, guys. With everything that's been going on, like I said, we've been very bogged down. We will get to this. Nevertheless, there is a lot of story going on in here. If you've been following the updates on the community page, they even did an article on Bellicor.
Yeah, that was a bit strange.
But he needs a new model.
Yeah, that's why it was strange. I feel like you're going to do all this work and then maybe be like, need a new Bellicor. Because I'd forgotten how small Bellicor was.
He's tiny.
Until I saw him at the event a couple of weeks ago, and the base he's got to be on with the model size that he is, it's just ludicrous.
I've got him on a 50 mil. He's supposed to be on a 65.
Yeah, it's just nonsense too big for him.
Yeah, like, a rock troll is bigger than him. I'm not even joking. A rock troll is bigger.
Yeah.
Colonel Hunters are bigger.
It's such an old model. Like, I really thought they would give at least given him a new model with the Slaves to Darkness release.
Yeah.
But
oh well.
Obviously not.
So there's absolutely tons of story in this book, and there's actually tons of painting advice as well. The first one, of course, is the man himself, Bellicor. It does show you how to use contrasts to actually get the blend across his chest and then make it darker across his wings and things. There's details on how to paint his sword. So
it's nice to get a bit of blending advice with contrasts. I've never been able to blend, but I found it quite easy to do with contrast paints.
You've got to do it with contrast medium, though. That's possibly why.
I've done it without.
Fair enough.
And it worked okay. I could see why much better with contrast medium, but I didn't have any at the time and wanted to do it. Like, all the wings on my Flesh Eater Quartz army is all blended without medium.
Yeah.
The trick is, I found, is getting to it before it dried. Because I got a little lamp I paint under and it's a bit too warm. So sometimes if it wasn't quick enough, there'd be a little line where the first bit had dried a little bit. So but as long as you aren't painting under a heat lamp like I pretty much am, you should be fine.
Yeah. The next page has got tons of information. There's about doing armor on Blood Warriors. There's painting Khorne skin. We've even got an example of Volupus Pink on Pink Horrors. We've got Griff Charger Grey and Pterodon Turquoise on some Kyric acolytes as well. There's examples of Militarum Green on plague bearers, as well as doing boils and puss bags, as well as the wings from the drone things. There's a whole ton of stuff giving you advice. You then move on to Demonettes. It's showing you how to use Carabao Crimson over the top of white spray. We've got some black Demonettes. You've got the pink Demonettes. There's absolutely boatloads of details in here about painting your Chaos models.
I mean, it's good to see because they're covering a wide range of allegiances in the book.
Yeah.
And it is obviously very Chaos focused, so it's nice that they've done a good selection of potential models.
Absolutely. There's even actually another page on how to paint a bone properly, as well as doing a dark bone and painting some of the skeletons on the Bone Tithe Nexus
really nice.
As well.
Different shades of bone is pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah, so there's boatloads of pages on that before you get to the rules section. And the rules section it's hefty. It really is. There's an additional realm to play in now as well, which is the realm of the 8 points. So wizards know the Marked Quarry spell, which has a casting value of 7, and if successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 18 of the caster and visible. Until the start of your next hero phase, roaming monster units must make any charge moves or normal moves made by roaming monster units basically have to go to that one rather than the closest. Grant doesn't... Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It is, because if you roll for the roaming monsters and they end... Basically, if they charge, they've got to go to the closest enemy unit, which is, your opponent's army or your army, whichever unit is closer. That one you basically pick and they all go for that.
Yeah, that is superb. I now really want to play a Triumph and Treachery game in that realm just to send the random monsters to people.
That would be so cool. That would be
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. The command ability, you can use this command ability when you pick a predatory endless spell to move, because there's roaming endless spells as well. If you do so, pick one predatory endless spell within 12 of a friendly wizard and add d6 to the movement range of that spell as well. So an extra d6 movement, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're playing that realm, you're not playing seriously.
No, and that's
it's a fun narrative game at that point, because otherwise, I think a CP for an extra D6 move isn't great. But in a narrative game like that, or especially like it's like a Triumph and Treachery game where everyone's kind of playing against everybody else, the threat of being able to then just move that spell that little bit closer, that's really good.
It sets the picture for this entire book, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
nothing in it is broken.
No, which is what we'd prefer.
Yeah. It's very, very much a narrative game, this. If you are very much into your chaos, and not too serious playing, this book is fantastic, especially if you've got access to a couple of chaos armies as well. For example, I've got access to Slaanesh, Khorne, and then, of course, some Slaves to Darkness. So it's a pretty good book from my perspective as well. But the realm features, I'll just go down the list. If you roll a 1, nothing happens. If you roll a 2, subtract 1 from casting rolls for wizards. In addition, you can re-roll wound rolls of a 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by units that made a charge move in the same turn. So that's not bad. Number 3, units cannot fly. In addition, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons. That's pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Crystal Way Shards. You can reroll casting rolls for wizards on the battlefield. However, if the casting attempt is rerolled using this rule and is successful, that wizard suffers D3 mortal wounds after the effects of the spell have been resolved.
Okay, yeah. So it's a risk versus reward.
Yeah. Exultant Melody. Units can run and still charge later in the same turn. However, any units that run and charge suffer D3 mortal wounds at the end of the charge phase.
Right. Okay. Again, it's a bit of a
risk and reward. Yeah.
yeah.
And then the great game. At the start of each battle round, before determining which player has the first turn, the players roll off. The winner decides which one of the following Realmscape features will be used for the battle round. So you basically pick one of the 4.
Okay. Per round.
Per round.
Oh, that's yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
if you roll a 6 for the mission and then go, it changes every round.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool, yeah, definitely. So, the Roaming Monsters missions, there's a full list of models that you can use. There's a Chaos Gargan, Chimera, Cockatrice, Cygor, Fomeroid Crusher, Gorgon, Jabberslide, Mindstealer, Spheranx, Mutilath, Vortex Beast, Slaughter Brute, Soul Grinder, 10 Warhounds, 6 Furies, 6 Raptorics, and 3 Razorgores.
It's quite interesting. There's the smaller monsters available in units, and not just the big behemoth monsters.
Yep.
I like that.
So basically, once you pick the Roman monster units, you set them up within an inch of a terrain feature, more than 9 away from enemy units. And you can only take 1 unit of monster per artifact of power in the game. So, for example, if your opponent has 3 and you have 1, that's a total of 4 monster units that can be in the game.
Yeah, got you.
It does state if neither of you have any artifacts of power, 1 unit is selected.
Right.
So, there's a condition table here. Depending on what condition is met by the monsters between battle rounds, you then roll a dice and it does whatever those effects are, and it gives you a step-by-step. So for example, close is the third, the center one. So if the unit of monsters is between 3 and 12 inches from enemy models, you roll a dice. On a 1, it's distracted, so the unit does nothing. On a 2, you hold. This unit can use 1 ability from its war scroll. If the unit has any missile weapons, it can shoot.
Okay.
A 3 is also a hold, and a 4, 5, and 6 is charge. Now, although it says charge, you get to make a normal move. You can then shoot. You then attempt to make your charge move, and then if you do make your charge move, you can then attack. If the charge is successful, each model from this unit must finish the charge move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit.
Right.
So there's that. There is a couple of other ones depending on the condition. So obviously if you are far away, there's Advance, which says you can use an ability, you can make a normal move, and you can shoot. There is Spooked. This unit must retreat. If it cannot do so for any reason, it is destroyed. And there's Rampage. This unit can use 1 ability from its war scroll, shoot, and all attacks must target the closest enemy. Each enemy unit within 1 inch of the model from this unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So you've kind of got to kite the monsters.
Yeah, until...
and, you know, can you bait them
until you cast that spell to sick them on somebody.
Yeah. So it's a pretty, it's fun. It's not, you would never play that in a serious game, ever.
No.
But it's fun. And I think it could be quite a laugh.
Yeah, going through there. I mean, there's been a few of us up here have thought we'd like to do some Triumph and Treachery just for a break from, the sort of serious games, and I think doing it in that realm would be brilliant.
Absolutely.
I think I would even if that was the case, I would just make it you've rolled a 6 and it changes every turn anyway.
To be honest, I was going to suggest that if we were going to, for example, film a game with that, I would absolutely just say, let's just choose 6 and roll for it every turn.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, because you don't know what's going to happen at that point.
No. So the Roman Endless Spells is almost the same. It has very much the similar aspect, apart from it's got Unstable. So the player activating the Wandering Endless Spell rolls a dice, and on a 1 to 3, the Endless Spell is immediately dispelled. On a 4 to 6, each unit within 3 inches of the Endless Spell suffers D3 mortal wounds. That'll be in addition to what's on its War Scroll.
Okay, yeah. So that could be
nasty. You've got Unleashed Power. The player activating the Wandering Endless Spell rolls on the Unleashed Power Effects table over Leaf and immediately resolve the effects of the spell. So you get that in addition. And the way that this works as well is, so if you've cast any endless spells from your army, and they are predatory, between the battle rounds, obviously the player going second moves the first one.
Yes.
And you do all of the ones from your armies first, before moving on to the wandering ones.
Unleashed ones. Okay.
And then the player going second moves the first one. So again, if you're playing...
So it's effectively 2 rounds of moving spells.
Yes.
You do all them and then start the process again. Okay.
Yeah. There's also Translocation. The player activating the Wandering Endless spell rolls a dice, and on a 1 to 2, nothing happens. On a 3+, the player removes the Endless spell mod from the battlefield and sets it up again at one of the points shown on the map opposite. And obviously there's 9 points there, as you can see, across the centre of the battlefield and in each player's territory. And then you've got Surge. Must move the model as close as possible to the closest unit, finishing the move at least as close to the closest unit as if it was at the start of the move. If there are 2 or more, the player activating the endless spell picks which one. So, yeah. And there's a couple of things for the Unleashed Power. So roll a dice for each unit within 18 of this wandering spell, and on a 6, that unit suffers D6 mortal wounds.
So it's pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
Which you would expect from being in the realm of in the 8 point, the all points. 8 points?
How good or bad would it be having Archon and Nagash on the same side when all this is happening?
That's just a bit ridiculous.
just a bit.
Yeah.
So that's most of the missions. They also updated Siege Warfare. Grant, I don't know whether you can remember, Siege Warfare was actually, I believe, in the General's Handbook 18?
I remember it being in the book. I've never played it.
It's basically updated rules. It's very back and forth. So one player is the attacker, one player is the defender, and they build a stronghold. And it says you can use wildwoods or whatever terrain you wish. And the siege phase happens before the start of the battle round. And what you do is, if you're the attacker, you pick one of the tactics, so you can starve out your opponent, you can batter them, or you can tunnel them. And as the defender, you can either gather supplies, rebuild, or counter tunnel. And depending on which one you select and which one your opponent selects, gives you a positive or a negative towards one of those points. And basically the idea is that you batter down the defences and then gain access and destroy the enemy.
Nice.
It's a cool narrative game, but it is exactly that. It is narrative. It's not specific. You'd never use this in a serious game.
No, but it's good to have things like this because you don't always want to play a serious game.
Do you know what, right? I actually wish that I had. You remember the Plastic Chaos Fort that came out when AOS dropped?
Yes, I wish they'd released that as well. That would have been...
I had enough of that to put some Chaos units behind it and just have Lucy's Bone Reapers come and batter it.
Yeah, that would just be so perfect for this release.
Absolutely.
It's a shame. It is a shame they didn't re-release that fortress, though, because it's a really nice kit.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. There's some really cool pictures here as well of what looks to be a bone fortress. It's obviously custom made. I don't know how they've done it, but it's very, very nice.
That's been good kicking about since the Bone Reapers release. And if you look on, anytime they share that, the questions are always, why can't we buy this? Why is this not a thing?
Yeah.
So maybe in the future, we'll see something like this take shape.
Hopefully.
I mean, it'd be nice because a lot of the Games Workshop train now is really nice stuff. There's amazing train models they do, and it would be nice to have a nice big centerpiece like that, and it could maybe give Siege the push it needs to become a thing that's played a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a handful of command abilities for being the attacker or the defender as well. But that covers off all the different types of missions. There's even allegiance abilities for every faction here. For if you're the attacker or the defender in siege missions. So you've got Chaos, Blades of Khorne, you've got Orc Warclans, Ogres, Caradhran Overlords, Stormcast, everything is there. There's a lot of
stuff. The Bone
Reapers
one leaked and was causing a bit of a concern until it was pointed out it was siege only. Because it added +1 to the save.
Yeah. Oh.
So your Petrifax would be on a 2-up save.
Oh, good God. That means Nagash would be on a 1-up.
Yep.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'm not going to go over all the battle plans, guys, but there is 6, 8. There's 8 missions there for Siege Warfare. Of course, nice. The last one being the Fate of the 8 Points, which is, I presume, having not read the lore, I presume this is what happens at the end of the lore and the story that's been told in this campaign book. So, some very, very cool stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see them doing things like that, like the Siege Warfare and just trying something a bit different. And it's nice that it's not just here's the generic defender and attacker abilities. It's here's special abilities for each army.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you do have a group that wants to play it, and you've got a few different opponents and a few different armies, it's going to be a different game each time.
Yep, absolutely. But now on to the meat and potatoes of this book, Grant.
Yes.
First of all,
yes,
tell me your initial thoughts on the allegiance abilities. Or at least the main one, the first one.
The Legion Chaos Ascendant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I like mixed demon armies. I think that's my big thing. I don't think I've ever really got my head around it narratively, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I always think wouldn't be working with each other that much.
Yeah,
but that's just my own head canon for the way I look at things.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin them. It's just it takes away everything that makes those demons those demons.
Yeah, it doesn't really give them anything.
No.
Back. I mean, it makes Plague Bearers a 5-up, 5-up, 6-up to get rid of them. So I mean, it buffs Plague Bearers, but
yeah,
I'm not sure it really buffs anybody else that much.
Yeah, so there's a whole host of different allegiances. There's 2 for Khorne, there's 2 for Tzeentch, 4 for Nurgle, 3 for Slaanesh, and then of course we've got the Legion of the Chaos Ascendant, which is the one that Grant has just mentioned there. So we'll take a look at the Legion of Chaos Ascendant first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. 6 will feel no pain, don't get me wrong, is good.
Yeah, but demons are pretty fragile anyway.
5-up save at best.
Yeah.
Well, 4 on the greater demons, but
that's why I think okay, Nurgle's nice because it gives them. They've got the 5-up on their war scroll, so they still get that, and they get the 6-up.
Yeah.
So it makes them quite tanky, but I don't know. And the summoning, I don't really think's that great either.
Yeah, so Unyielding Legions, at the end of your movement phase, you can pick 1 friendly Chaos Demon hero that is on the battlefield and roll 3d6. On a 10+, you can summon 1 unit of the following to the battlefield. So depending on what mark your hero is, you can get 10 Bloodletters, 10 Plague Bearers, 10 Demonettes, or 10 Horrors of Tzeentch. The Tzeentch one's probably the better one because obviously, that's 50 wounds.
Yeah, Horrors are just better than everything else at this point.
Yeah. The summoned unit must be set up wholly within 12 of the hero and more than 9 inches away from enemy units. If an unmodified roll included any doubles, the Chaos Ascendant Demon hero suffers 1 mortal wound. If it was a triple, then you suffer D3 mortal wounds instead. That in itself is not enough to make up from the Loki of diversion that you get, the Blood Tithe points, the Destiny dice, and the wheel that Nurgle gets. That does not make up for that at all.
Again, it's a narrative list if you want to have all the mixed demons on the table. I don't think it's going to appear much in the grander scope of AOS, to be honest. I mean, if you've got the points, you could run all the greater demons. I think you can do that, because I think a while ago we pointed out you can run 4 Greater Demons and 1 of each, 10 man of each battle line unit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could do that.
It would look ridiculous, but it would be so cool to see. Demonettes and a Keeper, Bloodletters and a Thirster, Plague Bearers and a Great Unclean One, and Horrors and a
Lord of Change.
It would look cool.
And you could theoretically summon up enough with that ability to maybe make up for the lack of numbers, but
nah.
Again, it would be a fun thing. You would take for a laugh. It would not going to be a serious list. I don't feel.
Do you know what? I'm almost tempted to go and get a Lord of Change and a Great Unclean One and a unit of Horrors and a unit of Plague Bearers now.
Yeah, I mean, it would look great.
It would be stupid. There, so. It would be so stupid.
It would be. But then, what command traits have you got? You've got. I mean, reroll charge rolls, so you can take that as your command trait, your Bloodthirster, and you could do some work.
You can get +1 to hit rolls for one of them, Primordial Commander.
Reroll save rolls and stuff,
You add 1 to hit rolls.
But no, I mean, yeah, it's a fun list. It's not.
Yeah, you don't have access to many. Well, technically, artifacts you can go from anything from in malign sorcery as well, but the spell law, 3 spells, it's not enough.
Yeah,
it's just.
But you've only got 3. Well, the corn one can't cast a spell anyway, so I mean, you only need.
And I suppose
one for each other hero.
Most of them will have a spell on the War Scroll as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. I may try this at some point in the future, just because I think that would be ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it would be a great visual army, but maybe not the strongest army.
But so's Archeon and 9 Varangard, Grant.
Yeah, that's just pure filth. We know that.
I mean, technically, I should have gone for 12 Varangard, because then that would have made me exactly 2,000. But no triumph.
Well, true. But now, being on the nose, that's the dream. Turn 2,000 dead. That's where it's at.
Well, so you're saying I'm wrong for not getting the 9, 10, 11, and 12 Varangards.
I think if there's a possibility to take more Varangard, you always take more Varangard.
Oh, man.
I think it's all or nothing.
There isn't the possibility, because after I paint the next 3, I don't think I would ever paint any ever again.
No, that's fair. I mean, I definitely don't want to paint any Dracoth ever again, so I can fully understand that.
Before we have a look at the battalions, though, that actually go in the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, there is another allegiance ability that I want to actually discuss. The Knights of the Empty Throne.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. Get this right. If you've given your army the Knights of Empty Throne keyword, friendly Knights of Empty Throne Varangard units gain the hero keyword if Archeon is not part of your army.
Yeah. Which is just really cool.
You could technically run 6 units.
Yeah.
The disadvantage of this is because you're not running Host of the Everchosen, the Varangard are not battle line.
No.
But Lookout Sir rule does not apply to the Varangard. They do have access to the command abilities. And do you know what? The command abilities are pretty funny. The first one...
It's also worth pointing out that they can only take command traits and artifacts that are listed on the next page.
Yeah.
So you can't have a unit of 12 Ethereal Varangard.
No.
That's just not a thing.
No.
Let's just not go down that road.
So you can use this command ability at the end of your charge phase. If you do so, pick one enemy unit that controls an objective and is within 12 inches of a Knight of the Empty Throne hero. Roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in that unit, and for each 3+, until the end of the battle round, the number of models in that unit that are counted when determining control of the objective is reduced by 1.
Yeah, I like that. It's a nice way
That is very, very good, and it's very narrative.
Yeah, it's nice because if you're doing this, you're going to be running, low model count army, because you're going to have 2 or 3 units of Varangard heroes.
Yeah.
So you're going to be you're going to be maybe 6-man units or something like that. So you're going to need something just to take the edge off the bigger numbers.
Yeah, because despite the Varangard being 5 wounds, they only count as 1 model.
Yeah.
Which, after playing Ogres for a while, it hurts.
Yeah. I still don't want to see the Ogre rules spread around too much.
No.
Maybe the monster version.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing monsters
Count as 10
something
models.
Like that. Like the Star Drake should count as more than a goblin.
Yeah, it should count as 10 models.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, it's really cool. The other one is Failure is not an option. You can use this command ability when a friendly Knight of the Empty Throne Varangard unit is destroyed. Roll a dice, and on a 5+, you can set one up again.
It's only a unit of 3 you can set up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a 33% chance, and you spend the command point, though.
Yeah, and you've got no way to really get command points.
Nah.
So unless you happen to have never needed your command points, then you're probably not going to do it.
And of course, you can't just buy 3 or 4 for being under points, so you're limited to the 1.
Yes, there's no battalion, so you're only going to bring 1 command point.
Yeah. It's cool, it's narrative, it is not something you would take seriously.
No. But there's some nice abilities they can get.
There is.
With the command traits and the artifacts. There is some nice things you can do with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just going back a page or two as well, we're going to have a look at the 4 battalions that actually come with the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, and there's 1 for each of the 4 gods.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I can go through this. I mean, they all kind of follow the same basic formation. It's 2 to 3 heroes, and then the chaos number of units. So you need, for the host of the Arcane, it's 2 to 3 Tzeentch demon heroes and 9 horrors of Tzeentch, and so on and so forth. 2 units of Slaanesh and 6 demonettes, etc. The benefits aren't amazing.
No.
And I think the host of the Arcane, you're really going to struggle to put that in a 2K. You'd be a 1-drop because you're probably not going to have anything else.
Yep.
Can you even fit that? 9? No, actually, no. 9. That's 1,800 points just in horrors. So no. Well, is there 100-point Tzeentch demon heroes?
I don't know.
No, because you're not going to, because you're not going to be able to get a battalion. So yeah, Host of the Arcane's not even a 2K possible battalion.
I don't think many of them are.
I think
the Khorne one you could get in.
Demonettes must be, because it's only 2. You could take 2 foot heroes and then 6 units of Demonettes. I mean, they're not. Again, they're narrative, but they're not really doing much for you. I mean, the Tzeentch one's +1 casting, unbinding, and dispelling, but you could be wholly within 9 inches of 2 or more friendly units from the same battalion.
That's really hard.
And you've already paid so much points to bring 9 units of horrors on the table, which that in itself is just an offensive number of wounds to put on the table. I mean, because that's what 9 times 5 is what? That's 450 wounds or something you're bringing.
Yeah, that's it's crazy.
Yeah.
Host of Rage, reroll charge for Khorne. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that one, but you're not going to take 8 units of Bloodletters and 2 Khorne demon heroes. I don't think you'd even fit Bloodthirsters in at that point.
No.
Well, maybe. I mean, Bloodletters must only be 100 points or so, but yeah, it's not.
I think they're 110, so you're talking 880 just for the Chaos Bloodletters.
Yeah, then you could put in 2 to 3. So you could just put in like 3 Bloodthirsters after that, and you'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you don't get Blood Tithe because you're not Khorne.
Nope.
You're still the the Legion of Chaos Ascendant. So
which isn't great.
No, that's the thing.
No. And then the Slaanesh ones add 1 to wound rolls, and then the Nurgle one is increase your damage by 1 for each hit roll of a 6. Yeah. They're okay, but they're not. You're never going to use these in tournament play, ever. No.
You're not going to be taking the Allegiance to begin with, and if you are, you're probably not going to be taking these either.
No. I'm just going to flick through the pages now to give you guys an idea of the scope of some of the other allegiances that are in here. And you've got, I think there's 2. Well, no, we covered it at the beginning. There's 2 for Khorne. I think it was 2 for Tzeentch, and then 3 for Slaanesh, 4 for Nurgle.
4 for Nurgle, 3 for Slaanesh, and then there's a sub-host for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant. There's a Legion of the First Prince.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
like, if we go through all of this in detail, it will take a long time, guys. So,
yeah,
Grant has handpicked some of his favourites that he's going to tell us about.
Yeah, I think that's probably easier. So the first one that I really like is the Baleful Lords,
which is this one I've got here. Yeah. So,
Yep.
Which one's this? Is this?
So
this is Khorne.
Yeah, this is a Khorne one, and it's a Bloodthirster focused one. Which, again, Bloodthirsters are already probably the best thing in the Khorne book, so it's a shame we've gone to them again. But this is fun enough that I don't care. So, friendly Bloodthirsters can run in charge. Just all the Bloodthirsters in your army can run in charge.
Yeah.
And you can include one additional behemoth as long as every behemoth is a Bloodthirster.
Yeah.
So 5 Bloodthirsters. Because why would you not?
Exactly.
And then command ability is much like the Gristlegore one. You count as taking 0 damage,
which is really good,
especially with the Bloodthirster that you should be taking in this one.
Yeah.
Which I will quickly run over. And then the command trait is +1 to charge, which again within 8 of the general. So you're probably gonna have them all within that 8-inch bubble. Turn 1 to run in charge, and then get +1 to that charge.
Yeah.
And then the artifact is +1 to save. So you've got to take that. But the way I would build it is you're going to be taking 2 battalions, so you still get 2 artifacts from the Khorne book as well.
Yeah.
Because this just effectively goes into the Khorne book, and the same with all of these allegiances.
Does it?
Yeah, if you go back to the page, the Allegiance Abilities page, when you choose a Chaos army, you must choose which Chaos faction army belongs to. So, for example, if you choose a Khorne allegiance, you give them the Baleful Lords keyword. All Khorne units in the army gain that keyword.
Right.
So it's like picking one of the allegiances in the book. This is just an extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because Khorne got shafted, I think, with theirs.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to run 8 Korgorath, and I really do. There's a really fun list in it, but yeah. But yeah, so you take 5 Bloodthirsters in the Tyrants of Blood Battalion, and then you take 3 units of Gors and a Doom Bull in the Brass to Spoilers Battalion, and that's 2 drops. You can get an extra command point as well, so you're starting with 3 command points. 1990. And you take the Bloodthirsters of Insensate Rage.
Yeah. Which
is commonly called the Boom Thirster. Just because of its rather nice ability. I'm just going to get the exact wording up here. Yeah, so you have 5 attacks with your Great Axe of Khorne.
Right.
And when it's unwounded, for every 6 you roll to hit, each enemy unit within 8 inches suffers the number of mortal wounds shown on the damage table. And when he's unwounded, it's 4 mortal wounds to every enemy unit within 8 inch for every 6 that you roll.
Oh, look at that really cool command ability I've got. That counts me as being unwounded.
Exactly. And you're going to run in charge 5 of them into your opponent's army turn 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a lot of fun.
That would be so horrendous.
Yeah. I'm not a big enough fan of the Bloodthirster model to want to paint up 5, but I would love to run that list.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Bloodthirster anyway, just because you do roll that 6, and it's like, oh, everything around here's taking 4 mortal wounds.
Yeah. The problem with that is, though, you hit yourself.
Yeah, but you don't care. You're Khorne. It's okay. You'll get enough blood types to bring one back. I mean...
True.
You're killing everything else anyway.
That's very true. You need a mortal hero to bring it back.
Your Doom Bull. Just keep him at the back of the table.
Oh, right.
Can he summon in?
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Any mortal hero can summon.
No, well, they wouldn't have the mortal keyword then, would they? Because they're not immortal.
Exactly.
Okay, so you couldn't summon.
No.
Who cares? It's still fun. just don't charge within 8 inches of each other. Problem solved. Well, 16 inches because your bubbles would overlap. So yeah, you have to spread out. Yeah, who cares? It's fun. It's 5 Bloodthirsters. You're not being serious at that point. I mean, That's the army you take when you want to have a drink and just throw everything at them turn one and see what happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So...
Then, I don't really think either of the Tzeentch ones are better than anything in the Tzeentch book, sadly.
Is that the Unbound Flux and the Cult of Thousand Eyes?
Yeah. I mean, the Cult of Thousand Eyes buffs mortals, but there's not much mortal Tzeentch you really want to take.
There was already quite, like, reasonable things in the Tzeentch book anyway for mortals.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. So I didn't really find anything there, but I quite liked some of the Nurgle stuff.
Which ones?
So they effectively double, if the way they're written. You have one for foot demons, and one for foot robbringers, and one for plague drones, and one for Puscoil Blight Lords.
Okay.
So they kind of double up a little bit just with their opposing things. So the demons both get the Locus of Corrosion, which is you ignore you worsen the rend by 1.
Yeah.
For melee weapons attacking you, which is great.
Yeah.
Because you're already on a 5-up, 5-up. So if you can take away rend 1, you're still on that 5-up, 5-up. You're still going to be a pain for things to shift.
Absolutely. Command
ability, if you get charged, you can do D3 mortal wounds back. It's nothing startling, but Nurgle aren't in an amazing place right now, other than Blight Lords. So if you are running demons, then that's something.
I suspect, right, we know the Seraphon book is next.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that needs updating after Seraphon, or do you think Nurgle would be after that because they're the oldest battle tome?
Yeah, well, are they?
What else is there?
Like your Legions in Nagash. It was around the same time as Nurgle, was it not?
Yes, it was actually, yeah.
And also, like, your Daughters of Cain is older, but it's still competitive enough. It's not an issue, really.
It's still of the newer formats, because it was bought with 2nd edition in mind. The same with
so was the Nurgle book, apparently, because it came with a terrain feature. But
yeah, but it was the first one of those 3.
No, I think Nurgle's due an update, and I think Stormcast is due an update.
Oh, don't say that.
They are, and
don't say that.
Anyone that plays Stormcast knows fine well there's not a good build in that book. Shootcast is fine, but that's not Stormcast.
The problem is that they took away, and this is why Lucy doesn't play hers very often now. They took what made Stormcast like the big, strong, resilient men. Like Paladins was so hard.
Yeah, I mean, they just need. I don't want new models. I don't want new models. I just want to rewrite the entire book.
Yeah, like Lucy isn't fussed on evocators and sequitors and all these wizards. That is not what drew her to Stormcast, and a lot of the reason why she doesn't enjoy them anymore. She loved loads of liberators, banging things up with hammers.
Yeah, I mean, I have 4 boxes of unbuilt paladins sitting in front of me. I want them to be good so much because I love the models.
Lucy has 30. She's got 10 of each variant.
Yeah, I mean that's what you want. And we're going to go off on a tangent. I'm just going to try and fix Stormcast. I need to get back on point because I will. That's something I can rave about.
Let's keep that for the next podcast. Anyway, back to Nurgle.
Yeah, so the Droning Guard is the one that buffs the Plague Drones. That's the word I'm looking for. So, again, they worsen their end by 1, which is still great. You can, for a command point, you can give +1 to the Disgusting Resilience ability of Plague Drones within 12 inch of a hero.
That's good.
So it means, your command trait is all Plague Drones before the first battle round move 4 inches. Which helps. I mean, it can put you into position. It can play against you, of course, because then you're closer to the opponent if you're not going first. So that's always the thing with the pre-game moves, because they happen before you know who's going first. You need to know you're making the decision before you take it.
Yeah.
Much like the Bone Splitters one. And the artifact is just a -1 to hit with melee weapons. But it's the fact that you can make them Ren -1 and +1 to your disgusting resilience makes them quite a resilient unit.
Yeah, if you're going drones, that's definitely one to go for.
I don't think I've seen a plague drone on the table in a long time, in fairness.
Nope.
Which is a shame, because they're cool, but they look cool, but they're not great, sadly. Just look at the war scroll just now. Yeah, they're not amazing. But there's nothing we can do with that, so we're making the best of what we can.
Yeah.
And then you go into the Rotbringer equivalent. Their overall trait is every time a Rotbringer dies on a 2+, you do a mortal wound back in the combat phase.
That's okay.
It's a free mortal wound back, but if you're attacking a Nurgle unit, it heals them. So if it's Nurgle on Nurgle, it's not going to go well.
Well, as long as it has the Nurgle keyword, so...
Yes.
Archaon has the Nurgle keyword.
Yeah, so you could just... Archaon could kill a heap of Blight Lords and then heal himself back up.
Yeah.
The command trait is quite nice. You can, once per turn, use the add the double command ability for free.
That's decent.
Yeah, well, it overcomes the Nurgles. Nurgle aren't that slow, really, because they've got the trees, so they can run in charge, but they're always seen as a slow army.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got a big unit of 20, and you can guarantee a free 6-inch run with that unit, and then they can charge...
Amazing.
Especially with the buffs to Blight Kings, they're now on modified 6s, I think that's quite nice.
Absolutely.
What's the command ability for this one? It was a bit of an odd one. So you pick one friendly unit within 14 inches of a hero. At the end of the phase, pick one enemy unit that suffered any wounds or mortal wounds inflicted by the unit in that phase. If the combined number of those wounds and mortal wounds is greater than the bravery characteristic of the enemy unit, that enemy unit suffers 3 additional mortal wounds.
It's okay, but it's too specific.
I think, if you've almost killed a hero or almost wiped out a unit, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's that thing where you've maybe only got one guy left and they've got 2, but you can spend that CP and get rid of those 2 models and get that objective.
Yeah, I suppose...
Situations like that, it's not something you'd be doing very often.
No.
I don't think, but it's nice to have. Because Nurgle don't have allegiances.
No.
They do, but it's the ones you got to pay points for. It's the old ones still, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean... It's maybe worth looking at this, because depending on what command trait and artifact you're giving up, because obviously there's good ones in the Nurgle book. And the artifact for this is reroll save rolls, which is always good, because you want to keep your heroes alive to keep dishing out those buffs.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I quite like that one. And then the Drowned Men is similar to it buffs. You can reroll, command trait is reroll +Go Blight Lord charges. Your CP is unmodified wound rolls of a 6 is an extra rend, and the artifact is +1 to the bearer's wound characteristic. Again, it's not great, but if you are going +Go Blight Lords, then that's what you would do. But again, nobody does. So
no. But these might be in anticipation of the new Nurgle book, because let's face it, they've probably already wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, they must work about a year or so in advance, at least, by the time you figure in printing times and everything like that. So, yeah, we've got to think, like you say, Seraphon was the last one in bad need of update. Now we're looking at stuff that's still relatively recent, but needs some love.
Yeah, I think Nurgle was, 3 years ago?
Something, which is crazy. We're now at the point where we're saying a book that's 3 years old is in need of love.
Because last January was Slaanesh.
Yeah.
The year before that was...
Is that Khorne?
No, I think it must have been Nurgle.
But Khorne got a book... They must have got their book the same year as Nurgle, but later on the year then. Because the Khorne book's newer than Nurgle, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it must have been 2 years ago that it came out, because it came out in the January. I think Daughters came out in the March, and Idoneth were out in the June.
Yeah, it was a load of releases, one after the other.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we've got 3 Slaanesh abilities as well.
Yeah, and again, I feel they're not as something I would take over. I don't know the Slaanesh book that well. But yeah, you see, you've again, much like you have to pick either an Invaders, Godseekers, or
Yeah.
you got to pick one of these. But the way it was written was strange in the Allegiance Abilities section. I want to go back and just double check that.
Cause
So yeah, you can give them. Yeah, so it's either or. So you can either be like an Invaders or a Lurid Haze Invaders.
right, okay.
You don't get the Invaders ability. It's despite them being named something Invader, something Godseeker, something
Host,
Pretenders.
I think.
They almost sound like you should get both. It's a really weird way they've named it, but you don't. The things are good with these. They do buff like Slaanesh Infantry, but again, most people are going hero heavy because that's what generates depravity and such like.
6 keepers.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've never ever seen that. Makes me feel a bit ill to think about.
But even then, a lot of people are running or tried the Celeste host.
Yeah.
For the double depravity.
Yeah, which has generated some stupid numbers of depravity.
Yeah. Yeah, which resulted in, of course, the nerf to the changes in the amount of costs for stuff, which all you had to do was change it for that allegiance, really. I mean, the fact that the nerf the Loki was close enough, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the right call because it was just an uninteractive experience, and that's always what I'll always come back to when I'm looking at books that I don't enjoy playing against or playing as. It's how interactive they are. Being able to just be like, okay, in a 2+ you can't do anything. Well, no one enjoys that, in my opinion. Or no one should. It's a game of going back and forth about making tactical choices. As soon as you start eliminating that, you're not playing the same game as everybody else. So like you say, taking it down a notch was nice, but I have seen a few people say that upping the cost has maybe just unbalanced them a little bit too much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah.
So none of these really. I had a scan over them, and I don't think any of them stand out over any of the other ones in the Slaanesh book, and I'd rather just take them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I came to. I mean, I think unless there's a big change for Slaanesh or coming soon, which there isn't, you're just going to stick with the book ones.
Yeah. But this one is interesting.
The Legion of the First Prince. I mean, you've got to take the Legion of Chaos Ascendants. You're already not in a great place.
Nope.
And it's quite finicky to get the stuff to work.
Yep. That's what I thought as well. But it's Be'lakor centered.
Yes, it is, which is nice. But again, why are we centering on Be'lakor without giving a new model?
I know.
Why are you trying to showcase this awful ancient model that desperately needs some love?
Yeah. So you can pass mortal wounds or mortal wounds off to any of the battle line for each of the gods if they're within range of Be'lakor, which is it's all right.
It's the first part of the ability though. You can reroll hit and wound rolls for Be'lakor if he's within 8 inch of at least one of each of the Bloodletters, Plague Bearers, Demonettes, and Horrors. So he's got to be within 8 inches of 4 different units to reroll his hit and wounds.
That's crazy.
That's just never going to happen.
Nah, ever.
And Be'lakor's more of a caster anyway, isn't he?
He's not bad in combat. He's a pretty...
but you're not taking him for his combat.
No.
You're taking him for his spells and his abilities and things, so...
The command ability is cool, though. The command ability is cool. On a 3+, you can replace D3 slain models to 4 units.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's for each one. So
roll dice for each friendly. Okay, on the battlefield, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's good.
I mean,
it's not worth taking, but if you are taking it, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish they'd done more with that. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see. I've seen a really cool Be'lakor allegiance. It's something that I hadn't ever thought about until I got to that part, and I'm like, okay, this is a cool idea. Then you read it and you go, yeah, but it's just not gone well.
Yeah, not at all.
But the idea, that's the thing. As much as I said I don't like the idea of a mixed Chaos army led by Be'lakor, that seems to sit a lot better with me.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is. That's what it's all about with him.
Absolutely. Do you know what this makes me wonder? And this is going off the subject of AOS a little bit. We know that Chaos Demons are getting an update in Psychic Awakening for 40k very soon. And it's Chaos Demons and Chaos Knights versus Admech and Knights. And there's rumours floating around that it's basically going to give you a Chaos Undivided. So you can basically run all 4 gods in one army. Because as it stands at the minute, you've got to have them in different detachments to get your different Loki and things like that. So I'm wondering if that's going to be centered around Be'lakor as well. If that is the case, right, they should have done a new model. They absolutely should have. But at the same time, right, what else?
Unless they're saving the model for the 40k release.
That is a possibility because, I mean, you don't need any new knights because we've got the new knights from last year anyway. Chaos Knights are new. All of the new Admech stuff is coming out.
Yep.
Right?
There's nothing really on the Chaos side then.
Not a thing.
Well, could be, maybe.
It would be nice if they did release a new Be'lakor model.
It would be. The fact he's got a community article, the fact he's got an allegiance in here, it's a lot to give an old model when they're trying to move away from Finecast in particular.
Yeah. But at the same time, in the article, they did show the old model.
Yeah, but that's all they can show just now. But then you think, would they tease it? I don't think there's one coming, but it would be nice.
It would be very, very nice if there was. The only thing I am disappointed about this book, right? Don't get me wrong, I love that it's Wrath of the Everchosen. It's essentially an update to... I can't remember the name of the book because I wasn't playing Sigmar when it came out. Was it Dreadhold Fortress or something?
That was the army book for the fortress.
Yeah.
There was them, and there was also the big Realmgate War books and everything.
Yeah, this feels like it's a second edition version of that. But that's been updated to follow the narrative of obviously Catacross fighting Archaon.
Yeah, the Soul Wars are continuing. And now it's spilling over into
the
8 points.
And it's nice that they've done that. I really do love it. I don't want to wish too hard, but that they've done a little something for Bone Reapers in here.
Yeah, I assumed there was going to be something for them. I was very surprised that there wasn't.
Like Forbidden Power gave you Legion of Grief.
Yeah. I
expected, one thing.
Yeah.
But there's nothing.
A mixed allegiance or something. But yeah, like I say, if you're playing Bone Reapers, you're not picking up that book.
No.
Despite it being focused on your army to an extent. Lore-wise, anyway.
It's purely for Chaos players, this book.
Yeah. And it is called Wrath of the Everchosen, so it does make sense.
It does. As somebody who is flogging themselves to get through 9 Varangard, I love the narrative of this book, but because we film games for YouTube, people want to see matched play. A lot of people don't care about narrative. And I mean, you know yourself, granted, I've gone to tournaments and stuff, you go to a lot more than me. A lot more people focus on matched play rules and don't even look at this.
What was interesting was that Realms at War, which is one of the big narrative events, massively sold out really quick, and in fact have oversold. They're looking to expand. And it would lead to some people saying that maybe people are getting tired of constant match play and are looking for something different. So maybe there is going to be a shift in the community to get a bit more narrative events, which would be great for things like this. It'd be great to go to a narrative event and have a siege battle be a part of it, and using these rules in this book.
Absolutely.
I think as the scene grows, it will happen.
And do you know what? Do you know the Durham Raiders event that we're going to?
Yes.
I'm going to tell them to have a look in this book, because I don't think they've fully set the missions yet.
Well, it's definitely worth looking at, because they say there is some nice stuff in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fun games, which is obviously what the event is focused around that we're actually attending.
I mean, I'm really excited to go into my first narrative event, which will be just something different, just to see what it's like. Like I say, playing match play is fine. I mainly go for the social aspect, but when you see books like these come out and you just think, you're never gonna get to play the stuff that's in them, because there's always stuff that comes out in books. Like every battle tome has a narrative mission in it, and you never get to play them. I don't think I've played a single battle tome mission.
So that is Wrath of the Everchosen in an hour by Harry Scar and Grant Fraser.
Mixed with some ranting.
Listen, a very, very cool narrative book, and if you're a Chaos player, pick this book up, right? I don't think you'll be disappointed if you're a very casual player. If you're a matched player, I probably wouldn't bother.
No, I think you've got to be looking at the narrative side of things to get the most out of this book.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, this is available for pre-order right now on Games Workshop's website. And, of course, you can also pre-order it from Battle Bunker, of course, our channel sponsors. Make sure you go and order it if you're a Chaos fan. I think there is something in there for most Chaos people if you're not too serious a gamer.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yep. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. Grant, thank you very much indeed, once again.
Oh, not a problem. Eventually you'll get sick of me.
But before we get sick of you, we've got the Seraphon book to do.
Yes.
Which, this isn't me saying I've got it, I don't. We just know that that's the next book.
Yeah, it's already been revealed. We know it's coming, we just don't know when.
Yeah. So, thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye.